What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video we'll do a two-part analysis. First we'll talk about Zcash, then we'll talk about Dash, two cryptos that are pumping right now when the rest of the market seems stagnant and stale. So let's go over these two guys right now. Okay, hit the like button, subscribe. It is the second day of November. Here we are with about 10 hours left in the day, a little bit less than that. $394 is the price right now. Moving down, after yesterday's reach. You reached for $450 and then came back down. I must admit I'm a bit surprised by this, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if you did continue to rally from here. I'm not expecting this to be the top. If we look at this from a relative high to a relative low, you did tip the 1886. It's very common when finding resistance here to find support at the golden ratio and build higher, or even more common, to be completely fair, to go back to the 1414 and find support. Would it be so bad to go back to $360 to find support? No. Prior resistance right here, find support back there, and then move up. Going from the 1886 to the 1414, very common to do, and then move up. Your next target areas to consider would be something above $540. And yes, I say above $540 because the 2272, typically what you'll do is you'll wick above it. Typically, if you find resistance there. You don't have to. The fact that you tipped this, if you find support at the golden ratio or you find support at the 1414, the odds that you break through the 2272 and you go all the way up to the 2618 are higher now than they would have been if we just kept pushing beyond this level here. So I would say anything really from $540 to $635 is on the menu. And of course, higher targets, $720, $801 there at the 2886 to 3113. You know, these levels as well are applicable on a such a short retracement here. So I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we did see $540 or more over the coming days, right? It's the end of the week here. We got about 10 hours left in this day and this week. It's a brand new month. Next week opens up in 10 hours, and I would expect that by the end of that next 7-day period, we are probably up at $540 to $650, somewhere in that range there. So continuing to move up. Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll zoom out from there. Okay, 1 hour time frame. All that to say, I don't think the party's over for Zcash, right? And you might not go lower just because we're talking about, and I think it's logical to consider prices down at, where is it? Yeah, all the way down at 365, 360 in that area. That doesn't mean that we have to go there, right? Just because we found support and resistance here before doesn't mean we have to go there now. Maybe we're finding support here. I didn't see this on the daily. Maybe we're finding support here and we turn around here. Let's look at the 1 hour. I mean, we're right at an area to bounce right here, being in the oversold zone, the same areas that we've bounced from before. We could go lower, of course. Stochastics look like they want to come up. And the MACD's building bearish momentum, and you're crossing the zero. I will say the MACD makes me think you want to go lower, but the MACD is the least reliable out of all these indicators on the 1 hour time frame, so I don't know how much weight we should put on that. These other indicators look more like you're at a bottom. 51 minutes left in this 1 hour time frame. Let's see how it goes, but right now it looks like you reached down, came back up, found immaculate support. If you continue to move up from here, if by the time a lot of you watch this video, this is you can see down here what hour it is. It tells you this is the 14th hour. If this hour closes like this or greener, if we can close higher, maybe this is the low, because that's a perfect area to find support, and you've got a very perfect reaction so far. Right? To validate this as a low, you'd probably have to get an hour to close above about $426 before you get too excited about it, right? You could move up, find a lower high, and still move lower. So do keep in mind, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. You could be finding support here, but if not, you probably go down to about 360, 365, and that's not a big deal. Go down there, do it, I dare you, and you'll be fine. The MACD suggests lower prices. These ones don't really suggest lower prices at the moment, but you never know. 4 hour time frame here. The stochastics are at an area to bounce at the 50. So is the RSI. And the MACD is at an area to bounce too. I mean, look at this. Last time we had a couple drives of bearish momentum. That was the low. And then we reverted back to the upside. So here we are with a couple drives there. Might make sense to find support and move higher. We are at areas to find support. Curious to see what happens. What I will say is when the RSI moves back up, we want to get overbought. We don't want to reject the overbought zone. You want to break through it and get into it. Okay, what I can say is that. So in that context, we do, if and when we move up higher, we want to take out that $445 level. We want to. I mean, obviously you want to because you want to move higher, but if you stop anywhere lower than that, or if you stop around there and then come back down, I have a feeling that's right around your overbought zone. That might be a problem. That could promote further consolidation instead of an immediate pump. But I think here, just looking at this overall, higher lows, we're at an area to bounce. We're right at the 50. I mean, it makes sense that we would bounce right here, personally. Stochastics right at the 50. We've bounced here before too. You could go lower. And again, the stochastics sometimes, I mean, oftentimes they do go from overbought to oversold, right? Overbought, oversold, overbought. That's just what happens. If we are to go lower again, 360, 365 is something that we should pay attention to. Probably closer to that 365 level than 360. I'm not worried about the MACD at all. Everything looks good, more or less. I really am having a hard time deciding, is this the low or is it down there? And either way, it really doesn't matter, right? Who cares? Daily time frame, building momentum on the MACD. Love to see it. Stochastics are bullish as hell, and so is the RSI. I'm not worried about this at all. I don't know what to say other than the exact same thing I was saying in the beginning, which is that it's not done here. You're not done here. You have more to go. Okay, absolutely you do. I want to look at Zcash on an all-time historical basis, and then we'll look at Dash. Okay, from a high here to a low there. You're just above the 2272, but look here, right? Last week you wicked just above it and you came back down. I think really right now you're reaching for that next level, which 520, the minimum target we have, at least so far, was 540, so 520 right there. We probably do push on. I wouldn't be surprised at all if ultimately this move took us to $712 to $927. We put a line right there in the heart of that range, and what do we find? Prior highs right there. Prior cycle highs. We're going to count those as the highs, not this, although yes, that is real price action up there. $816. We got tied up here at this high level. I bet we get tied up at that next one, and that is right there in what I like to call the money zone, which we don't normally call for the money zone. It's called the money zone not because it happens often, but because when it happens, it's very reliable. And the way that this is happening, we're just moving up in a very straight kind of line formation. It seems like there's no volatility here, although there has been, right? We've had some drops here and there. Moves like this really do take you up to these levels here. If not, at least 520, but I don't believe we stop at 520. I really do believe we go higher. So ultimately, this move is going to take us to $712 to $927, maybe right there in the middle at 800. That's what I got for Zcash. Of course, I believe we'll go higher. Of course, I believe there's higher prices than that by the end of the cycle. I think Zcash will be worth $5,000 to $10,000, maybe one of those numbers, if not in between those numbers, by the end of the cycle. But that's a video for another day. Let's talk about Dash now. If you just came here for the Zcash analysis, hit that like button, subscribe. I appreciate you all. But if you're in Zcash, you're probably curious about Dash too, right? Having a very similar movement to Zcash here, right? You are finding, instead of finding resistance right at this point, you found it just below, and now we're breaking out. Yesterday, we were right at this high, and we were calling for prices to continue pushing higher immediately to about $100. Here we are at $96 being the high today. $92 is the price right now. We got 9 hours, 46 minutes left in the week here, in the day. I would assume that you push a little higher. You know, right there, the 1272 is at $105, so I do think that you push a little bit higher. You probably go there and then come back down and chill. If you don't stop at $105, I hear something, and my daughter's out. She's awake. It sounds like water. That's not good. She's 3. If you don't stop at $105, $130 could be the price to $170. You very well could reach for these levels. It's absolutely possible. It's a very viable outcome. However, let's just put some lines here. Let's actually put some lines here. 1272, 1414, 1618. We'll put some lines on all those levels and then just look back, right? The 1272 seems very significant. Look at resistance here, support right there. Kind of right there at the base, but not really. Resistance right there to a T, support right there, resistance right there. That 1272 resistance, it's pretty well respected. But so is the 1414, and there are points of respect on the 1618. So it really is fair game, I guess. I suppose you could find resistance at any of these levels, but so far I am thinking 105, just psychological resistance, massive pump, profit taking levels, you know, key areas of prior support and resistance there. It is the 1272. Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll zoom back out to this. Okay, I keep scratching my head on this, and I don't like that. We're just going round and round in circles. 1 hour time frame here. The RSI looks good, actually. It looks very good, very overbought. Nice to see. I mean, not like so overbought that you're going to come back down, but just consistently overbought. You look great. Stochastics are bullish, and the MACD is bullish too. Nothing to hate on there. 4 hour time frame, just bullish and dominant as hell. You are at a 95 level, so that's important to mention, but there will probably be some volatility. Even if you do push higher to like 125 right now, you might first crash down to $65 and then move up. Do be aware, my friends. It's very common, And I was actually saying this yesterday in that live stream with Rob and Crypto Archie. If you guys are watching that, we were talking about how it's very common, even in the midst of these 10x, 100x moves, whatever, that you get 30 to 60% pullbacks all along the way. It happens, right? We remember it like it's a straight line, but it actually, you do get pullbacks along the way. And if this were a momentary high, which I don't think it is, you could pull back to $70, even below there, and be fine. Find support there and then move up higher. That noise is still going on, man. I don't know what it is. But I would think that we do continue pushing. We probably do go up to like $105. And again, with that, a pullback to 75, even $85, somewhere around there, is very possible of an outcome. Very, very likely outcome, I would even say. 4-hour time frame. Stochastics, RSI look great. The MACD looks great. I mean, I'm not seeing any signs of exhaustion here, but wouldn't surprise me if you were at some point going to find some exhaustion. And even the 15-minute time frame looks great. Daily time frame here. Again, we're just back out to this. So what I'll finish off with is that ultimately, I do think Dash, what's the word I want to use here? I do think Dash is in the process of a massive breakout where there was some accumulation going on here, some distribution. We're getting that pop now. I don't think that it stops here. I don't think that it stops at 100. You just might find a little turbulence there at 100, come back down to 75 or $60, and then push higher. Right? It's very common. Oh man, actually this is perfect. Yeah, it's very common to go just above the 382. You wick just above it, you close below it, and then you come back down to your 236. So just understand, and then from there you go to your golden ratio. We could be talking about Dash going to $287 to $400 from here, but on that path higher, you might drop to $50 first and then move up higher. Right? We've been seeing a lot of cryptos lately pushing through their 382 and going to their 0.5 area, finding resistance there, and then pulling back down to find support at the 382 and pushing higher. So do be aware that we could push higher to 168. That actually does line up with the top side of our expectations from this high to low. 168 right there. We could push as high as 168, but at least $105. That's where I think we're going to go. And then we should consolidate, pushing higher ultimately to our golden ratio target of $300 to $400. And by the end of the cycle, will Dash see new all-time highs? I don't know. It's capable of it. We'll see. We'll see. Right now, I feel very confident Dash will see a $1,000 price by the end of the cycle, but if it sees new all-time highs, that's all the way up to $5,000. It's a bit much for me to wrap my head around, but it could happen. I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Bye.